fans, welcome back and welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that break. I know I needed a moment to stretch my legs and to gather myself here as we just wrapped up with two very intense best of threes over 1 hour long each, and we have returned with the second half of the broadcast with the remainder of our matches. Up ahead of us we have Oliveira versus Bunny in a Terran versus Terran. We have Cure versus Bunny in another TvT, and we end the night with Shin versus Stats, a Zerg versus Protoss matchup to end it all. Again, this is still only the first half of the group, and we're going to be concluding Group B tomorrow. We're going to be cutting the Group B in half today. The other half will be tomorrow instead, just to break things up, just to make sure we have content for you every single day as well. Again, when it comes to ESL Open Cup Americas, I still have to collect those replays, and once we do, we can go over what we missed out on in ESL Open Cup Americas this week, which did occur a couple of days ago. But here we go, we're diving into this TvT between Oliveira and Bunny. Game 1, Solaris. Let's go. Let us go. And I'm really curious because I haven't seen as much Bunny recently, so I'm really curious to see if he has embraced the new Cyclone. I know Oliveira hasn't. We spoke about this yesterday when we were casting Ryung, but Oliveira, he has been going for this very tank-heavy style, or this really fast tank style from Oliveira, just a fast tech lab on that factory. I'm curious if that's going to be the case here as we get into game number 1, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Solaris, we have the red Terran player representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming. The Chinese Terran, it is Oliveira. Looks like there was a bit of latency there, but it has been cleaned up. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Terran player. The blue Terran representing Mystery Gaming, it is Bunny. Here we go. TvT is upon us. And again, most recently we were casting Oliveira in KSL in the online weeklies. We were seeing Oliveira go for these double gas openers into factory, into a single cyclone, and then straight into tank production. And it does allow himself to go into these earlier tank pushes here. We're building up towards 3 or 4 tanks. I'm curious if that's going to be the case here at IEM, or if this is something that Oliveira was whipping out post IEM in these more recent weekly tournaments. I'm curious. Likewise, we'll see what Bunny does embrace, as well as he's going to be going double gas. Likewise, so is Oliveira. So double gas openers all around, leading into faster factories, leading into a more aggressive style. Here we go. You see Bunny opting to throw down his production a little bit further back here. It does keep it a little bit safer. Again, in case there was a tank push here at the third base location, or even outside at the natural, then his production will be safe here, away, out of range of said tanks. So this is just a part of TvT that you have to bear in the back of your mind. We can see here the factory is being thrown down. Again, the racks of Oliveira is more exposed, but only the racks, not the rest of his production, as they're working towards our factory and towards, eventually, Cyclone production. The Cyclones, Bobby, let's go. Let us go. But again, I haven't seen much of Bunny's TvT as of late, so I do want to see what he's made of. I do want to see if he has adopted the new meta, or if he's still playing, you know, Fire Tank and going for like these Hellion openers instead, which is more of the craze of the previous meta. The previous patch. You know, CCs are on the way, and there it is. We have our Cyclones. First Cyclone for Bunny. Oliveira is opening up with a Hellion. Interesting choice. Hellion into Reactor. Into his add-ons. Meanwhile, yeah, this is a little bit more traditional here. It is going to be Reactor Reapers with Hellions. This is what we saw quite a lot of in the previous years of StarCraft. This has fallen out of favor because of the Cyclone openers and the Cyclone drops. So we'll see if Oliveira can make use of this. Ooh, as the CC is delayed, we do get a kill on that SCV. Good start here for Bunny. Does back up. Does come back home. Behind this, just building up his Cyclone count. We should be working towards a Medevac and a Cyclone drop. There it is. Medevac is on the way. Cyclone drop on the horizon for Bunny. Very meta. Very trendy as of late amongst the Terran players out there. Meanwhile, Oliveira still committing here to more Hellion production and more Reapers. It is going up to 5 Reapers and I believe 3 Hellions. Yeah, so 3 Hellion, 5 Reaper push from Oliveira. His goal here is to get on top of the Cyclones and focus them down. If he can, then he can slow down Bunny and maybe even break into the economy, break into the mineral line. It is going to be a tough fight though. As Bunny moves out with the medevac, does get eyes on the push. Does see the army. Bunny does respond. Marines are amassing. We are on the high ground. Hellion goes down instantly, and just like that, oh, Oliveira loses a big part of his army. Has to back off. And the scary thing here is that these units for Oliveira don't really scale that well into the mid game. Bunnies do. As interestingly enough, Bunny is moving out with his medevac, not with his Cyclones. Faking out a drop, coming into scouts, trying to get a read of what's going on, and as he dips in, he will get eyes on the factory on the 3rd CC. Up, barely does. Gets eyes on the 3rd CC. And likewise, Bunny's got his own 3rd on the way back at home. So full scout does confirm that Oliveira is being economic, that Oliveira he's working towards the mid game. So now Bunny knows he is safe at home, safe to cut his own corners, to be economic himself. As now we're committing to a Cyclone drop. Back at the main base, tank production has commenced. We are keeping up with each other. Tanks start popping out. We're done with Cyclones, we're getting into Biotank. We only had enough Cyclones for the other game to survive. And now to harass. Bunny slipping into the main base. Oliveira is in position. Does respond. And does zone Bunny away. Good positioning here by Oliveira. Meanwhile, does dive in with his Reapers and Hellions once again for a 2nd time. But there's a tank. Oof. Tank while it goes up. Oliveira does at least confirm the tank, and oh, we try to drag the army in. Cyclones from behind, and we pick off every single Hellion. All 3 Hellions go down. Good control here out of Bunny. Good juggling. Oh god. Has to be careful. This Bunny will force back the army. Behind this, getting into his 3-1-1 setup. Working towards his 3rd. Getting in position. And yeah, I would say that post early game, Bunny is slightly ahead. Landing his 3rd base on location. Oliveira slightly behind here in his own 3rd base timing. Just now getting into the rest of his Raxes. Again, the investment into Reaper Hellion wasn't quite worth it in the end for Oliveira, but he's going for a drop. He's going for a drop into the main. He can make this worth his while. Does get an SCV. Gets a couple of SCVs. 2 workers go down. Doesn't lose anything. Picks up. Gets the hell out of there. Efficient trade there from Oliveira. And he is pushing. Bold move. We have researched interference matrix for both players. It has been researched. Ooh, Bunny going to be using his Ravens to harass. Meanwhile, Oliveira, he has his Ravens to push. Workers are going to be going down. And this is some good damage, that is true, but Oliveira, he has disables available. And he will Matrix tanks. One tank does get Matrix, orders are thrown down as well. Boys are being pulled, and Oliveira, he can break through. He shuts down the economy. 16 SCVs go down, 10 SCVs go down across the map here to the auto turrets though. Damage is being dealt. Oliveira bleeding out a couple of units. Bleed out some of those Marines. And it looks like he will deny that 3rd. At the same time, trying to drop into the main. Doesn't quite make it in. But this is good damage here from Oliveira. He does take a worker lead. Does take an economic lead. Bunny being punished for harassing with his Ravens. And did not see the army. Up from here. Ooh, we do shut the tanks down. Not a bad trade from Bunny, and Bunny does have a supply lead, an army supply lead. That is true. But his economy, that's what's hurting right now. And the longer this goes on, the more that Oliveira can actually take advantage of that economy. have that reflected in the size of his army. Now, one thing that Bunny has that he will maintain, that he should maintain, even though he's rebuilding his SCVs, is that Bunny has a tank lead. Again, he was able to kill tanks, and Bunny didn't lose any of his zones. They were getting disabled, if you remember, but they weren't being killed. So if we look at the units tab here, Bunny has 5 tanks to the 2 of Oliveira. Because of that, Bunny can still take a head-on fight. He can still win head-on. So Bunny's army has to be respected. Well, Oliveira trying to drag him apart. Going for a double drop. Bunny fanning out some units, trying to get a read on what exactly is going on. Third CC's on the way for Oliveira, 2-2. This tells us, sorry, fourth CC's on the way for Oliveira, 2-2 as well. Tells us that Oliveira doesn't really intend to push out. Bunny can though, and here he is. Moving out with his tanks, with his ravens. Looking at the units as well. Did we keep the ravens alive? Oliveira, oh, he only has 1. He lost his other. Did lose a raven earlier. This is dangerous. We have 7 tanks for Bunny, but we have a massive counterattack. As Bunny moves out, Oliveira, he pushes in. Sips into the natural, into the main base, on top of the production. A massive move here from Oliveira, and he will get into the mineral line. Gets a tank, he gets SCVs. He will eventually be cleaned up, but he gets 19 SCVs in the main. Oh my god. Gets 19 workers. And just like that, Bunny's pretty all in. He's all in at this point. We are pushing. Oliveira has crippled the economy. He's going for another double medevac drop. Looking at the army size. He did kill a tank. Bunny does still have an army lead, a tank lead, but not as large as it once was. The scans, they reveal the army here of Bunny. Oliveira going to be rotating over, keeping up with the movement. And Bunny has to commit. Again, I do still believe that Bunny can win a fight, but it's not going to be as easy as it once was. It's going to get harder and harder as time goes on. The tanks are pre-sieged. Tanks are sieged up. Bunny stuck at the ramp. Liberator does rock over the main base. SCVs are going down. Bunny on sieges. But Oliveira does spot him. Oh, the tanks! Dust him on forward. 1 tank goes down. We get a second tank. The Ravens, they get caught out as well. And Oliveira, he pounces on the army. He cleans this up. And he will shut this down. Swallows up the Marines. The tanks. GG gets called. Oliveira takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. A wild move from Oliveira to go for that massive push, that massive counterattack. The moment when he was able to get behind the army, slip into the natural, slip in the main base. Well worth it there for Oliveira. He dealt so much damage, he bought so much time for himself, and he forced the all-in. I mean, Bunny was already all-in, but even more towards the end there. Oliveira in full control, able to take that first game. GG. GG, well played. Bunny, I would say, had a better start. Bunny had a better start to the game. He had a better early game, that is true. But as we entered the mid-game, winding it back even further, I would say that a deciding moment in that game was when Bunny decided to harass with his Ravens as Oliveira was pushing. And to be fair, Bunny didn't know that Oliveira was pushing. He didn't know that Oliveira was moving out across the map, which is why it's unfortunate that that happened to coincide with the attack. And as a result, the Raven energy was spent and wasted harassing instead of being able to be used defensively to defend against the push from Oliveira. That is when he gained momentum. That is when he gained his lead. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our Chinese Terran player, the Red Terran, representing DragonKy Gaming, our reigning world champion. It is Oliveira. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, representing Mystery Gaming, down in the series, looking to fight back. It is Bunny. Go. And we'll see how we change up our openers here, how we switch our openers. I would like to see Oliveira avoid the 5 Reaper 3 Hellion, or just the commitment into Reapers and Hellions as we saw in game 1. Wasn't quite able to do much damage at all, didn't do any damage actually. Was shut down and did not help Oliveira's early game. But we'll see. We'll see if he does invest. Maybe he could cut Reapers at 3 and only make a single Hellion. That's a bit of a safer way to open up. To focus on your economy, to focus on your transition. Could go into Cyclones. We'll see. We shall see. Ooh, as Bunny does open up double gas once again, going for a Rax into Factory. Meanwhile, Oliveira goes for an economic opener, goes for a Rax expand, as he has only taken a single gas geyser, so much more economic here out of Oliveira, much more aggressive out of Bunny. Does mean that he will gain a Cyclone lead. This Bunny is moving out. With this Reaper Scout, he's going to be able to confirm, of course, the timing of the command center. He could delay it as well. The Reaper of Oliveira has arrived. Oliveira, I think, does shoot first. Yeah, barely. Behind this, command center on the way for Bunny. Getting into his 1-1-1. Into his 1-1-1 here, as a Bunny is still trying to test the waters, trying to delay the CC if at all possible, but it looks like it will finish. SCV will go down, and we are this time getting straight into Cyclone production. Cyclone from Oliveira, Cyclone from Bunny. Interesting, Bunny going for a Hellion into Cyclone, and with that he can barely break through. As I said, a good target firing out of Oliveira. He does shut down both of those Reapers. Very nicely done from our Red Terran. Very good control. Yeah, Bunny bleeds out too much, has to retreat. Back at home, setting up for a Cyclone drop. Medevac is on the way to allow for that. Meanwhile, Oliveira back at home. How many Cyclones do we have? Still only 1. But now we're making 2 at a time. Let's go. So we should have 3 by the time the drop arrives. It's going to be close. Is going to be close, as Oliveira going straight for a 3rd CC. 3rd CC right after the starport. Very greedy, very economic here from Oliveira. We'll see if we can get away with it. Bunny with this drop should scout the fast 3rd. Should be able to, but we'll see. See, he's moving out. Moving out with a handful of Marines, with a Cyclone, with a Hellion. Does arrive at the natural. We'll get the Reaper at least, and we'll get a couple of SCVs. Does get 2. The lock-ons are too good. The medevac goes down, and Oliveira will completely shut this down. Very good juggling. Doesn't lose a single Cyclone. And Oliveira, he extends that Cyclone lead even further. Meanwhile, Bunny is the one going into a tank switch, into a tank switch, making as many tanks as he can. Now, we've spoken about this dynamic, but there is no interference matrix. I was about to say, there it is. It's in production. So, Bunny, he's not out of the woods yet. He has lost map control. He is working on tanks, but because Oliveira is building up his Raven count and working towards interference matrix, he can break this position. He can push in, disable both of the tanks, and break the natural. So this is not going to be easy for Bunny. 3rd CC is now on the way, but Oliveira, he's already got his own 3rd. It's already being landed on location. And he is not stopping Cyclones. We're moving out. We're pushing. Oh boy, how many Ravens do we have? Only 1 Raven, so we don't have that many disables available. We will take control of the low ground, but pushing into the main is going to be another task, another tough ask. Here we go. Oliveira, interference matrix finishing up in 10 seconds. And behind this, we're getting into mech. 2 more factories on the way. Mass Cyclone from Oliveira. Uh-oh. He knows, Bobby. He knows the secret. of Terran. It's make nothing but cyclones. How many Marines do we have? We have 14. We have a handful here at the natural. We have more in the main. Ravens are getting in position. They will have auto turrets to defend. Bunny should be able to hold here. It's going to be close. But if he can throw down his auto turrets, buy time here, soak up damage. Oliveira scans, waits for reinforcements. He's going in! He's committing. Does throw down the auto turrets. Doesn't disable, but yeah, he cannot break this. Now with 4 tanks, Bunny is looking solid. And Oliveira does have to retreat. But again, because he's playing mech of all things, he can catch up in tanks. He will catch up in tanks. Cyclone drop is chased away. The scan kills a Viking. Does get a kill on the Viking. Bunny just now getting his own third base up and running. Oliveira playing mech has the economic lead. Not like this. Ravens did survive. And we are producing 2 tanks at a time. For the time being, Bunny has a 3-tank lead. He's got 5 tanks to the 2 of Oliveira. But as we mentioned, that's soon about to change. The scan does reveal the mech. We see Cyclones, tanks, Hellions, no bio, no Marines. Bunny knows. Yeah, I think now is the time to push. While he has a tank advantage, he has to make use of it. Does have to press his advantage. He's moving out. Oliveira does spot the army, getting in position. Does siege. As in the midst of this defense, Oliveira, he even has some free time to go for a run by. Burst up some workers. 6 SCVs go down. Ooh, 7 SCVs even at the same time. Bunny, he is pushing in. Big disables here on the tanks. Forcing his way forward. Likewise, the counter disables as well. Also on the tanks of Bunny. Cyclones, they burn through all those Marines, all those Marauders. The Vikings, they take control of the skies. And we can land on the tanks. Tanks are going to be going down, forcing the friendly fire. Ooh, at the same time, though, they're dropping to the main. Oh my god, 20 SCVs go down. You know what's crazy? Bunny kills 20 SCVs. Oliveira, he's still only down 2. He's down 1 worker. That's how far ahead Oliveira was. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, to be fair, he also killed 10 workers across the map, but again, Oliveira was that far ahead with his faster third, with his economic opener. 4th base now being taken. And as the dust does settle, again, Oliveira, he now has the tank lead, building up his Cyclones, building up his Vikings. Did lose a lot of Vikings in that skirmish, in that fight. That is true. When Bunny moving out towards the 4th base, Oliveira not quite in position. Uh-oh. 4th is under fire. Drop comes back into the main. Bunny pulling Oliveira apart. Will collapse here on top of that CC. Command center does catch fire, but does survive. Has Bunny going for another drop into the main. And there's nothing here. There's no turrets, no Vikings, no Cyclones. Do boost in. Speaking of Vikings, they try to rotate over. There we go. Finally, turrets are being thrown down. They're on the way. Bunny is still in this. He has a 4th. Oliveira doesn't. Not yet. Shots are going to be going off. Bunny pushing on 40. He wants the CC. He gets it. Gets a kill on the orbital. Bold move out of Bunny, but it does pay off. Does get it in the end. Big tank shots going off as well. Oliveira still ahead in the economy. Well, still ahead in the worker count. Just needs a base. Drop comes in. We've got Vikings to defend, and Oliveira, he's pushing right through the center. He doesn't care. He's had enough. Moving right through the center. Tanks are going to bleed out. At least one of them, though. Yeah, he has the high ground. It does defend. Brothers come in. They take down 2 tanks. Not a bad trade. But Oliveira, he's trying to go for the kill. Going for the throat. Had enough defending. Disables the tank. Bunny is down to 5 tanks. It's still on the way. Coming out of the production. The volleys they go off. They shut down the bio so hard. Bunny, he cannot push into this. It's not happening. Not into this many tanks. And Oliveira knows it. Yeah, he takes control of the 3rd base. He fans out. He peels up a couple units to head towards the 4th. Both bases being denied. Cyclone's going in. Bunny, he cannot drop even. There's too much on the ground. GG gets called, and Oliveira will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Oliveira does take it here. Again, we saw some nice moves out of Bunny this game. He was able to go for some, gets quite a lot of damage done with his drop play. That is true. He was able to get a kill in the 4th base. He forced the push from Oliveira as well, forced the attack, but he wasn't ready for it is the problem. Oliveira, he had reached a critical mass amount of tanks with that tank transition. Not just that, but remember, Oliveira, he got away with a fast 3rd. It was an economic opener with a Rax expand into a fast 3rd base. His economy was insane, which is why even though Bunny killed 20 SCVs, it was only enough to equalize the workers, not even get ahead. That was crazy, by the way. So again, the economy of Oliveira out of control. Into mech of all things, so his tank count got out of control, and GG. GG, well played. Solid game there out of Oliveira. Flexing his mech in game 1 and his biotank in game... Sorry, mech in game 2 and his biotank in game 1. GG. With that, Bunny was looking strong earlier against Shin, but alas, does falter against Oliveira, and the TvTs are going to be continuing here as we get ready for Cure versus Bunny. As a reminder, this is the group stage of IEM Katowice, and it is round robin. So everyone plays everyone. Everyone plays against everyone. A lot of matches were played out in the group stage. A lot of matches were had, and I'm ready for some more TvT action. Gibbs, Bobby Gibbs.